Today we're going to be changing out the CVT transmission fluid on this 2009 Nissan Sentra, as well as the filters. And so we have the two filters here. I'll go ahead and put links to those down in the video description below where you can pick those up off Amazon. And so this is the filter with an O-ring, and then this right here is the little basin filter, and it has a little filter mesh there for the sump. So we're going to be replacing those, and we're going to be utilizing, after we drain it and when we fill it back up again, we're going to be using this Castrol Transmax CVT universal fluid. And as you can see here, it's rated for Nissan CVT NS2. And so CVT NS3 and NS2 is basically compliant for this. So this is what we're going to utilize. Pretty cheap. You can get that off Amazon. So what you're going to be needing is basically a 19 millimeter and a 10 millimeter in order to get everything off. And so I got some little extension sockets and everything else. You're going to be needing to take off this driver's side wheel, and you're going to have to remove that panel right there to get after one of the filters. And then coming around here, I'll show you this. If you come in here right where the air intake is, this guy right here is the check fluid and fill location for the CVT transmission fluid. And if you look all the way back there, this guy is the actual housing for the filter itself. And so the only way you can get at that is over by the side where the wheel's at. And then of course, what we're gonna need to do first is drain out the transmission fluid. And that drain is right there, and that's that 19 millimeter. And of course these are the 10 millimeters. So first we're gonna drain it, and then we're gonna be dropping the pan. So let's get started. So first we're gonna go ahead and undo this 19 millimeter bolt that's going to allow us to drain out the transmission fluid. Go ahead. Oh no. All right. You got it? You got it? There you go. Go and drop that in there. Oh, there you go. All right. So we are just going to let that flow out, and you can see it kind of looks a little bit burnt. So it is semi-clear when you put it in. So we're going to let that drain, and then we want to make sure that we're emptying it into an empty pan here, because we're going to have to measure how much we drained out, and then because that's how much we're going to be putting back in. All right, we're going to let this drain, and then we're going to start undoing the pan. All right, while you're waiting for this guy to drain out, it's dripping right now, you can go ahead and remove this plastic panel that sits underneath the vehicle. So you can just get under here with flathead screwdrivers, pop this guy out, and then wiggle this. Now I'll go ahead and put a link to these below, so that way you can buy some new ones and just have it ready. But if you're careful and gentle, you can reuse these, but that's not guaranteed. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and remove all of them, and we'll get back. All right, so now we're gonna start taking off this pan. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start here at the top, and I'm going to start loosening these. All right, I'm going to loosen them evenly. All right, I'm just going to break them free. This is super light. All right, I'm just barely using any torque to get these guys undone. Guy. There it is. It isn't in bad shape at all. Looks pretty good, actually. You can actually see the dipstick tip right there. That's pretty neat. And then you can come over here and you can see inside of there. It looks pretty clean. I'm going to touch it with my finger here. That's pretty clean. Amazing. All right, let's move on to the next step. All right, so this is the inside of the pan, and as you can see, this is the plug, the drain plug right here. And then if you look over here, these are two magnets. And so you can see the buildup that's on them. I'll go ahead and wipe them down. And so that's, I don't see any large particles. So, it's just very fine metallic dust or powder that's on there, which is good. And so I don't see anything too bad, but you know, it is silvery. But you know, this is almost 200,000 miles of crud. I should have replaced this filter or sump on the bottom underneath the vehicle a while ago, but never did it. Just trying to get this thing probably to, if I can get it to 250,000 miles, I think we did a pretty good job. But this will, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this all up, make sure the edge is nice and neat, and I don't have salt or anything here in Arizona, so this thing has lived pretty well and it's in pretty good condition. All right, we're gonna have to put this sucker back on here. So I'm gonna get it cleaned up and be ready to go. So we're gonna go ahead and remove this sump filter right here, or screen. It looks pretty clean, but we're gonna go ahead and just remove it, inspect it. I already have a replacement one. However, it may not be the best. I might just clean this guy out using some brake cleaner. That should be it. So basically just those 3 10mm bolts. And then you should just be able to pull straight down on this. Ooh, there it goes. Alright, as you can see, this guy has a nice kind of layer of crud on it. That's not so bad, but in there you can kind of see a piece of something. But other than that, it looks pretty good. And really, if you shine a light on it, you know, can you see through there? Yeah. You can kind of see up to the light there. You can see light passing through. So this part is actually pretty good. And I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up. And here, let's bring it over here to this other filter. Replacement. So this is a replacement, and it's definitely not as good of quality. It's a little bit lighter. And you see in there, it's just kind of this fine mesh screen. This one has a little more, it's got like ridges. So if you look at it kind of side by side there, you can see the definite difference there. So there's some definite crud in there. If I can't clean that crud out, I'm going to go ahead and use this new one. Actually, I think I'm just going to use this new one anyways, but I'm going to go ahead and clean it out just to kind of see what stuff comes out of there. Okay, so this already had, I'm installing the new one, and this one already has an O-ring right here. So I'm going to go ahead and push it straight up. There you go, seats nicely. And then remember, the long bolt goes right here. So there we go, it's the only one that'll fit there. So we're just going to get that finger tight, and then we'll finger tighten the other two. Alright, now we're going to torque this down to 1 gazillion foot-pounds. Not really. It's just snug. This is aluminum out here. And this gasket is in really good shape, and I didn't have any debris that was coming in from the outside, so I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is. I have a rubber one to replace it, but I'm not going to need it. So I'm going to go ahead and just put the pan on right now. Alright, now you're going to go ahead and just tighten these down a little bit. I went ahead and put the pan in. It was pretty simple. And once again, these will just take just a little bit. So I'm going to start over there, and then I'm going to come over here. So everything was finger tight. Alright, so now just go till, and so we're going to kind of cross hatch around here. So I want this thing to snug up evenly. Okay, so I went ahead and removed this plastic piece from the wheel well, and so I had to remove a bunch of the little tabs and peel this back. Now, coming into here, this is where the filter is for the CVT. So you see this grounding wire that's in the way? I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, and by doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and take off this 16mm bolt right here. Alright, now that that's out of the way, I have a little bit more space to get in here and remove the 4 bolts that are holding this on. You can see 2 bolts on the bottom, 1 bolt up there, and then if you can come over here, up top, see, right up there is the 4th one. So 2 on that side, 2 on that side. Let's get after it. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and get after these ones on the bottom here. Alright, broke them all free. Now I'm going to take the rest off by hand. Okay, I'm taking off the last bolt here. Oh, there you go. And it just started dripping. And I put this plastic bag in the way there so it's not dripping in any of the components. And so these are, here's the size of the bolt right here. 10 millimeter. So I got those out. And I actually undid one of these clamps here on the filter housing. I'm going to try and take this off, but I might need to completely remove this tubing to get it out of the way. But I'm reluctant to pull on this really hard because I don't want it to break. Let's see. We'll see what that does there. Let's see. Alright, let me move this to the side. There we go. Alright, got it to the side here. Let's see if I can get the light in there. Alright, you can see in there the filter. See that filter in there? So I'm gonna have to pull that guy out, and so it's gonna be difficult to see, but I'm just gonna pull straight out. I got this housing to the side, so let's see what we can do here. Alright, just wiggle it and it comes straight out. There you go. Empty it in there. Alright. That's dripping out, so I'm going to go ahead and take this thing over to the bench. Alright, so here's the old filter here. You know, it has a little bit of residue or sludge on it. And looking in the pleats, I don't see too much clogging or anything like that. It's definitely seen its better days. But here's a new one. Same size, same paper filter construction, same rubber grommet on there, same internals. So I'm going to go ahead and plop this one in there and secure it back on. So this is also an O-ring that comes with the kit. So I can replace the old existing one with this, or just keep the same one on there. I'm pretty reluctant to put the new one on, but you can. And just make sure you oil it up before you put it on. Alright, so I got the new one. The rubber side goes in. And it just pushes right in place. Now, I will not be replacing that O-ring on there. I'm just going to go ahead and rotate this back over. Now, if you were going to replace that O-ring, or you had a lot of crud around the outside of this thing, you'd have to make sure it's all nice and clean. You'd probably take off all the hoses and pull this thing completely off. Now, I just got to put these bolts back on. Okay, I went ahead and reinstalled that wire as well as tightened down those bolts right there. And just like the bolts on the belly pan, there's a light torque on those because it is aluminum. So be careful with that. I'm going to put the hose clamps back in place. And so now it is ready to put this plastic panel on. So I'll put the plastic panel back on and we'll start filling this thing up. Okay, so now I'm going to be emptying this out into an empty container and measure out how much fluid we removed. So this is a 5-quart container. Okay, so we went ahead and filled up this reservoir, and this is 1 quart, 2 quarts, 3 quarts, 4 quarts, and so we're just above 4 quarts, so about 4 1/4 plus, we had some spillage, so probably around 4 1/2 quarts. But this one container right here is 1 gallon, so that's 4 quarts. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and basically fill this whole thing first. We're going to run through the gears a little bit with the vehicle on, and then we're going to make sure we top it off. So let's go ahead and start filling it out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and remove the measuring stick as well as fill tube. I have a nice clean funnel here. I'll go ahead and put a link to where I got that. Zoom up. Fill it up. And so we're going to do the full gallon. And then start this vehicle and start moving the gears around. Just do it nice and slow. And we'll come back when we're done. Okay, so we have almost 120,000 miles on here. And what we're going to be doing is running through the gears. So we have the vehicle in park. And we have the parking brake on. It's going to put the service brake on and then run through the gears while it's stationary. Go ahead. There you go. Just stay in each gear for just a little bit. There you go. Now the vehicle was already at about just a little bit shy on the dipstick after I checked it. There we go. Go back up at the park. Alright, go ahead and turn the vehicle off. Alright, so now we're going to come over here. We're going to check it. So I'm going to go ahead and wipe it first. Only low. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this just a little bit more. Add about another maybe 1/2 quart to it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and check the fluid one more final time. I went ahead and drove it for about 10 minutes real quick. And let's see where we're at. Alright, so we are right there. Right at the top. Perfect. So I don't have to add anything. So I added in just a little bit extra after that full gallon. Probably about just another 3/4, almost 1/2 quart. And that did it. So if you guys have any questions, go ahead and post them down below. And as always, hit like, subscribe. Thank you.